Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Coalition's Going to Talk About. Welcome to Derry, because this show is just amazing. I am your host, Dana, joined by Mr. Fancy now, Danny Martinez. Look at you. You washed, you shaved, you put a shirt on. Ooh.
I put a shirt on. I gotta go to work after this.
Oh, he has to go to work right after this, so we're going to make this really quick. First of all, I want to know what your thoughts on episode 2. Did they exceed your expectations? Were you disappointed? Were you scared?
It is honestly, I think it was better than the first episode.
Hmm.
I would think so, yeah, because things are starting to get put together. Definitely a lot more scarier scenes. Although the final scene was still shocking in the first episode. Like that's still one of the best. But I think this second episode was a lot better with like what we could expect throughout the show.
I agree with you. I am now traumatized by pickles, which I love. I thought this was actually exceptional. I thought they kept building on not just the mystery, but they revealed things. So we're not like at the finale, and means this, and that means that. So it's not an episode of Lost. We're not getting lost here.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
getting explanations and we're getting higher tensions. And these poor babies, I feel so sorry for them. They're so tormented. And also going off of your what you stated before, the parents, the adults essentially are cursed. So that's why there is no reaction to when crazy things happen. Right?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Which they haven't touched on yet, but I'm hoping that that's something they're gonna touch on at some point. That like the parents themselves, I guess, either when they get older or just in general, you just tend to forget what's going on in Derry.
Which explains a lot of the characters that we saw in the 2017 not really remember what happened during Welcome to Derry,
Yeah,
because they're overlapping characters. So kind of let's just dive right into this. We started off with kind of what was going on in the movie theater, but I guess from Lily's perspective, because we got to see the boy thrown against the wall. This was some violent murders, very violent. And of course, we know that the police are looking for trying to arrest any kind of motive to arrest the movie theater employee, which would be, oh my gosh, I'm having name problems. The girl's father.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So basically that sequence was really well done. And of course, we have Lily is still being tormented by all of these memories, which I thought was interesting because she still has the turtle bracelet. So I thought that would kind of shield her, but just also explains why she didn't die and why Matt died. So that was you can make that argument because remember
Yeah. Oh,
the
absolutely.
turtle.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it's like no, he doesn't breathe.
Because even if the like, because one could say, oh, just because you're wearing something turtle doesn't mean that you're protected. But I don't think it physically means that because you're wearing something with a turtle you're physically protected. I think it's more of a metaphor and more of a spiritual, just like the turtle's watching over them in some, or at least watching over her in some sense. Something metaphysical. It's not something like to be taken literally.
Okay, well I like that. Well, we got introduced to some new kids because the old ones are dead. Whew, terrible, and they can't find their bodies, which is interesting. So are they just in the projection screen
Well, they
now? I
eaten.
don't know.
They
Or eat.
eaten. No,
Oh
Pennywise.
yeah.
Pennywise. That's him right now.
Oh,
That's
God,
yeah.
so sad. He had a good dinner. But yeah, absolutely sad. But we have to go into there was a revelation on some characters, and now we got introduced to, like I said, there's a new character. And his family, they all moved down to Derry. We all know that his father works a secret mission, which we now know what it is, which is to unbury essentially. I'm going to assume like a symbolic version of Pennywise and not the actual clown that we know
Mm.
was buried from the first episode by the Native Americans. And they're going to use his weapon of fear as military against their enemies. What were your thoughts on that? Because I think it's really stupid.
I think it's stupid. I actually don't like that part of the story. I think it's Jesus, this is a big trope with a lot of not just horror movies, but any movies that involve military in general. Is like the military is always trying to weaponize something. Oops, they messed up because they're stupid and they don't know how to control whatever it is they're trying to make a weapon. Like I feel like that's where it's going here, and I kind of don't like that trope. Um,
Mhm.
but it seems like that's where they're going. Is they're trying to find, and they don't know what it is, so they're trying to find a thing that so they can weaponize fear for their enemies and stuff. And I think it's dumb. I think it's a lazy shortcut to what has been good writing so far.
Yeah, I don't understand it because it's like you're going to try to control an entity, to use during nuclear war times to beat out other nations. But meanwhile, you think that you can actually have control and it won't turn on you, or let alone turn town. But also, you can make the argument that is kind of the selfish nature of war
Mm-hmm.
and the stupidity behind it as well. So now we know why Leroy. This is Hanlon, because I get the other one, Hallorann, confused.
Yeah.
But this is why Leroy is here with his family in the town, because he has magical powers. Apparently, during his attack in the Korean War, which explains the scars on his face, because I was like, what happened? Did Penny get him when he was a baby? But he had the scars on his face from the Korean War. And he is able, because he had the brain damage from the amygdala,
Yes.
he is kind of able to sense supernatural
Oh no,
entities or
you're mixing up the two
no,
characters alone together.
I'm mixing up the two characters.
Yeah. So
So Leroy, yeah.
Hanlon, his face got damaged, messed up his amygdala, and now he can't feel fear pretty much I guess to an extent. So
Okay.
that benefits him with, I guess, fighting whatever this creature might be. Hallorann is
Right.
I don't know how many people have caught this or not, but Hallorann is the character in the Shining movie. He has the
Mm-hmm.
Shining. He also has the Shining power. For those who don't know, that the Shining is a power that you can that people are born with. So the little boy in the Shining movie, he had the Shining. Hallorann, as an older gentleman, he has the Shining power. So now we're seeing his younger self. So he's able to detect the powers of, I guess, Pennywise or whatever is whatever they're using to kind of like subdue Pennywise. So he's using those powers to kind of like find those relics.
Right. And also he was in Dr. Sleep
Yes.
as well. He was
Yeah.
one of the Shinings that helped adult Danny, who was Ewan McGregor's character.
Yeah.
Whew, a lot of things. And then also we got an appearance into Shawshank Redemption,
Oh
which was
yeah.
the Shawshank State
The
Prison.
bus.
So
Yeah.
basically, like I said, my theory is proven to be correct. This is just Castle Rock. We got Dark Tower before. Did I say Dark Tower right? I think I said it right.
Yeah.
Yay!
Dark Tower.
So yeah, this is that Dark Tower. So yes. So I felt that was, despite my confusion, it was a huge setup. Basically by I forgot what the captain's name is, but I don't trust him. Shaw. Captain Shaw set him up when we saw the attack from last episode in the room, to see if he had any kind of ability to realize that the guy that they arrested was not real, and to know how his powers really, not to know how his powers really work, but to see him kind of in action. So I liked that explanation, and I loved. How did you feel about that prison scene? Because it was like I felt that he wanted to call him DEI, and he's like, you can't even keep the
Yeah.
gun.
That was a really good scene, really tense scene. The guy who's playing the disturbed racist white man is he did it very well. He was pissing me off the entire time. Yeah, and then the Shaw thing, if he's capable of doing all that to Hanlon, then there could be more to it than he's not revealing or whatever it might be, or he might just like be just as racist or whatever and kind of just use them and then get rid of them afterwards. Who knows? But yeah, I guess I was wrong because I predicted the last episode that when they jumped him, it was just a bunch of the racist guys trying to just get him out. So although I kind of knew, I kind of was right that it was all planned, I was wrong about
Hmm.
who was under the masks.
Right. Well, it was an easy wait. I mean, because I'm not gonna shake your hand, boy. So
Yeah.
it was an easy conclusion to jump to. I didn't get it either, but I'm also slow. But yes, I did love that part. I thought it was very well done, and it adds more texture to the story. And I'm kind of wondering, like, is that why he moved into the not just because of his job, but he's able to when he got attacked, he wasn't afraid of anything. He just fought right back. So he can feel pain. It's just fear. And this episode really did a great explanation saying that Pennywise feeds on your fear.
Mm-hmm.
So now we got the connection with that as well. Um, I'm just so I don't understand how they're going to control Pennywise. To me, that is just crazy,
Well,
stupid concept.
see, and here's the thing too, because if you were to even think that the military actually got that to happen, then we wouldn't have the sequels. We wouldn't have, it and it too.
Right.
So we know that we already know by conclusions of like the other movies that they fail. We already know what the outcome is. So I don't see why this. I guess they just needed a reason to fit in Hanlon and Hallorann to to kind of like fit more connections and Easter eggs and more characters from other movies and the previous It movies and stuff like that. I don't know why the military needs to be involved.
I can't. He does use a lot of things with military though, because I remember Under the Dome was very military based. Um, the other one was Prison. I'm not too familiar with everything, but there are military themes that Stephen King has done in his sorry after hiccups in his movies. So I didn't really have a problem with that aspect. It was just I don't understand how this plan is going to work. I think it's just
It's
ridiculous.
not.
But then it goes to show the nature of like what people are willing to do to control others. And I think this could be a larger kind of, and you could say it's corny and unoriginal to find out that, that humans are the real monsters because look at what they want to unleash on other people
Hmm.
in a corny way. So that's just kind of how I felt about that whole sequence. But kind of going back to the kids, there was an interesting thing. I feel so sorry for oh Lord, what is that child's name? She was with the patty cakes. She really, really wants to be liked. And you kind of see that like her friend died, what also really fascinates me, and I'm wondering if it's about a curse, is some of these kids are not really showing so much trauma. Like your friend died, and it's like onward and upward with business, which kind of ties in to the whole curse. And even the theme song of the TV show was about, smiling and putting a ribbon in your hair and putting your best face forward, which was kind of interesting. But I feel so sorry for the girl who really wants to belong to the patty cakes, and you kind of see her not fitting in no matter what she does. And I'm just screaming, those kids are not your friends. But
Hmm.
what happens is she ends up connecting a little bit with Ronnie's character because Ronnie had a really big scene. Her fear is that she killed her mother. And she's
Hmm.
kind of been carrying that weight, which we didn't know, for a very long time. And because of that, Penny kind of comes in as her dead mother, and she's in the womb. There's embryonic fluid and everything else, and she's birthed out of her mother after she rips herself out. And what did you think of that horrifying scene?
That one scene alone was scarier than most of the Conjuring movies put together. Like
Oh, they were never
I think Muschietti or whoever designs these monsters and these scenes, like they need to do more horror. Because the whole car scene in the first episode was done really well. Whatever the hell that flying baby bat thing is terrifying. Um, and then just like a disturbing pregnant mother with like a freaking mouth on the stomach. Like who thinks of that stuff? Like it was terrifying. And then she's like stuck with the umbilical cord and all that. So it's like it was done really well. It was very tense. Um, you're right. Like it traumatized her, and but then like after it happened, her and Lily are kind of just like chill. Like nothing's happened. I don't know if that's part of the curse or maybe they're just trying to compartmentalize because no one's gonna
Mhm.
believe them anyways. What are they gonna sell them? That a giant bat baby killed their friends? Like no one's gonna believe them, so they're not gonna say anything. And especially because people already thought that Lily was crazy to begin with. So
Mhm.
yeah, the scene itself was, I think, one of the best horror scenes, period, in a while.
Ooh,
In a while,
okay.
because
In a while.
horror has not hit me the same way for a long time. I saw Last Rites recently. The Conjuring movies that are like practically dead and gone. So like a lot of horror hasn't been really how do you say has
Good.
affected me. Horror, like any horror scenes, any horror movies hasn't been like really like, oh wow, this is the best horror movie ever. So, but that scene alone was like, oh, I see the potential.
Right. I completely agree with that. They're bringing horror back. So woohoo. That scene was amazing and well done. By the way, these kids can act, and it's so
Mhm.
refreshing to see that. And they're actual kids. They're not like 30 pretending to be 12. So you know how that has been. I think Jared Leto was 32 or something when he did that Claire Danes show. So I don't
Mhm.
know. But the point is, it's happy to see kids being able to act, and she did a great job. And who would have thought to bite the umbilical cord? That was smart. But yeah, that was extremely traumatizing. But now we know what her biggest fear is, and that she's been carrying the weight. And also, her next biggest fear was going to be that because Penny said it, you're going to kill your father.
Mhm.
Your father is now, and your father ended up being arrested because of Lily. And I genuinely felt so bad for Lily because she was placed in an impossible situation, and she is the child. And I hate that police officer.
Yeah.
I hope he crooks. I hope he dies on the show. It was just impossible. And so what were your thoughts on Lily kind of being tricked? But she knew she was being tricked, but she was up against a terrible wall.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess me as
Oh,
an adult, I see it as like I don't think she should have been tricked, but she's a child. She's easy to get tricked. So I gotta try to put myself in the mind of a child. But I just think that like I don't think it would have been that easy to get tricked. Like literally, he just said, "Oh, let me rephrase the question. You know, are you 100% positive that there's no possible way that he wasn't there?" Like, just say no. You've already said no before. Just continue saying no. But I don't think the whole tricking part was the issue. It was more of the blackmailing part because he was basically
mhm.
saying, you either tell me what I want to hear or you're going back to the institution. That's the part that was difficult to for her to deal with, which I would understand more of. But the whole tricking part, like, come on, you knew what you were saying. You know what you were doing because he gave you an ultimatum. So I don't think she was tricked. She knew exactly the choice that she had in front of her.
But it was impossible because one of
Yeah.
her greatest fears is going back to that place, which again just makes me angry at the entire town because it's like her father died very tragically, but now she's crazy. I'm wondering if Lily was a guy. If she was a boy, would they have thrown her into a crazy hospital? Because that's just insane.
Probably just
And it
juvie.
wasn't probably Juvie. I don't. What did she do that was so incriminating? Is the biggest thing.
Hmm.
It's like her father died. Oh, she went crazy after that. Her father died. So yeah, maybe she was being attacked by Penny and didn't know what was going on because her father just died. I don't know, but it's terrible. Um, so we do have that scene where Ronnie definitely blames Lily because now her father is arrested. He's gone to Shawshank. Hopefully he finds redemption.
And
So
Red.
and
Maybe
Red,
he'll find Red there.
huh? I
You
really want
know.
a Green Mile scene.
Oh no.
That would be
Red. You remember Red though, right? What's his name? Oh
yeah.
wow.
He's
I
from
was gonna say
Shawshank.
Morgan Freeman's character, yeah.
Yes, but also wasn't, I could be wrong, but wasn't the Green Mile also set in the same prison?
I don't think it was set in the same prison. Was that also a Stephen King book?
Yeah.
So
Nobody knows that it was because it was like
so it
not
was definitely in the same world then. I don't think it was the same prison.
okay. But yeah, that whole confrontation scene broke my heart between both of them because they're gonna
Mhm.
suffer for that. But in a way you can feel like, hey, Lily got paid back because Penny visited her in one of the best scenes, a grocery store. She was just trying to buy some pickles. Well, she didn't even want to buy the pickles. She
Yeah.
was trapped in the pickle aisle, the pickle and the cereal aisle. So she's walking in there. We get the store manager. If you need anything, you just tell me. Don't want you reaching to the top. And that right there should have been an indication something is going to be broken. So she's walking down. The aisles change, and she's stuck in the aisle with the cereal and the pickles. And she sees the dead kids on the cereal box, and then the pickle jar just kind of transform into her dead daddy's deceased body, turn into this disgusting slimy monster, which is, Pennywise got jokes. I'm not gonna lie, this was really funny. It was terrible. So what was your thoughts on that scene? Did it, was it equal to the birthing scene?
It wasn't as equal. I felt it, and I'm not saying it's not. It wasn't, gripping or tense, but it definitely wasn't as scary as the first scene, as that scene there. I think it was a little bit more sillier, just because it was like, the pickles, and then he didn't even have a full body. It was like a squid thing with his head, pieces of his head at that. But it was still a tense scene altogether. I think they really do a good job of using CGI very well, because I think one of the biggest
That was
things
practical.
that was not practical. Stop it.
Did you watch the after show?
That squid thing was not practical.
Oh, it could have been, but they didn't
No,
explain that. But they showed how they made the
I
actual.
will bet money that is not. Maybe they like, I'm not saying like 100%, but majority of that scene was CGI, because you can't use practical for it to put itself all together and stuff, and just like the whole animation and everything like that. No, definitely not. Um,
Watch the
but
after
but
scenes.
but they I mean, they could have used motion capture, that's for sure, for like the face and stuff.
Oh,
But what was I gonna say? The the use of CGI is done very well graphically. Because I think also nowadays CGI gets criticized because when CGI is used, it's used very cheaply and very quickly. There's not a whole big level of detail, not like back in the day when we had like Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean. Like we
yeah,
had we,
that's
we had
stupid.
we had motion capture, and then the whole thing was CGI, and that looks so real. So I think the CGI here, a little bit needs a little bit of work, but I think it's still way above par compared to many other horror movies that's come out in the last decade or so. Well, because like you ever see a CGI and you get that feeling of I forget what the psychological term is called, uncanny valley. Do you ever get that?
Okay,
You know what uncanny valley is?
no,
It's like you're looking at something and it just doesn't feel, it doesn't look or feel real or feel right. So it's like
right.
when the flying baby bat came out, you can really clearly see that it was CGI. It didn't look too real. It looked almost cartoony is not the word I'm looking for, but you can see how animated it was. And then the same thing with the little squid daddy. But like, because the scene with the pregnant mom was darkly lit, and part of it was practical because it was her on the headboard, it was an actress at the headboard, and majority of the body, it looked very real, except for like, the mouth part was probably CGI, but most of it looked very practical. So that's what I
Mm-hmm.
like to see in the CGI, is that it makes you question is whether it was practical or not. That's the type of CGI that I like to see. When I see just full on CGI, as in the Squid Daddy, then it kind of takes you out of the moment a little bit.
Okay. It didn't. That wasn't it for me though. I was right there
Yeah.
in the moment, terrorized by pickles. I thought it was very well done. It did look like rubber, like somebody had some kind of. It did look like to me that they made it, and then of course
Hmm.
the movements were CGI,
Hmm.
but
Right.
it worked. So for me, it worked so well. So
Mm.
I like that. And then you had the tongue, and it's a lot of slime in this episode. It's
Yeah.
just gross.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But also we have Charlotte. Charlotte is now a character. Charlotte is the mom to Leroy. Hope I got that
Yeah.
right. So Charlotte has a weird experience where everyone smile. It gave this what to me gave me the most tension because it was really her walking down the street and everyone had that really happy, perfect smile, but then you got a little weird, snarky stares.
Oh, Will. Do you
So
mean Will? You meant Will, right?
yeah,
Not Will.
Will was the new
The little
boy,
boy.
the new one, the new kid who loves science.
That's his mom, right?
Yes, to my understanding, that's
I'm
his mom.
sorry. Yeah, I can't remember some of the connections.
Because he was like, he liked science. He was reading
Yeah.
the book. That's when the
Yes.
stink bomb came in.
Yeah.
They put him in. Okay. So his mom, Charlotte, which, is feeling them racial tensions, and she was the only one to stop a fight. And then the fight continued. But she was the only one that really cared. And that just kind of shows you maybe kind of the spell of the curse the town is in, where they don't react to violence at all, really.
I did notice that, and they were saying they were finishing, they were saying the same things at the same time when they were fighting, they were arguing at the dinner table. So it was almost like it was routine. It was almost like this is something that occurs all the time. Then they're brainwashed
Mhm.
into saying and doing it all the time.
So yeah, that was crazy. But her character should be really interesting. I'm kind of wondering what her backstory is. Seems to be someone who's like for justice, or I don't even know. But we got little hints of racial tension where it
Yeah.
wasn't overt, except the father got hit much more than the wife so far. But kind of going off of that, what were your feelings on her? Do you feel that she could be a significant character, or she's just a parent?
No, I think she'll be significant, or else we wouldn't be following her too much. I think I kind of feel like her role and everything is to kind of add to the racial tension that's going on, because it seemed like a lot of places she was going to, she was getting looked at kind of funny. And even though, so like for example, when she went to the I guess it was an antique shop, or like just a shop where they showed a
Yeah.
lot of trinkets and stuff like that, the gift shop. She went in there and the shopkeeper kind of gives her a look, but there wasn't any, there was like, it seemed like there was racial tension, but then the shopkeeper, but it was, no, that's exactly what I got. But as soon as the shopkeeper greets her and then says, oh, you sold something to my husband, he's like, oh yeah, I remember, he looked like a military guy. That's when it kind of diffuses. So I actually like that. I like the idea of me having to guess, is this a racial or a racist undertone? Or are you like a closet racist, or are you genuinely a good person, and I'm just getting it wrong? And that's how I felt like in the gift shop, is that I just got it wrong. But I do like the idea of just like, oh, look at this white lady, giving her a look, and then she comes along and then it's all diffused, and I'm like, oh shit, I was wrong. Okay, nothing's going on there. Everything was perfectly fine. And it seems like that was going on throughout her entire time on the show, is that every time she met someone or did something, people were looking at her a different way. People were looking at her like, maybe not because she was black, but maybe because she's new. She's just simply a new person to the town. So uh I think that adds another layer of just like of being tense of what's going on in the town.
I got the fact that it was because she was black, but and also because she was new. Remember, there was that
Mhm.
scene where he said, blame JFK. like for
Yeah.
them being able to live there. So
Yeah.
I kind of felt that that was kind of the overturn. And sometimes when you're
And
in those,
that's the point. You're
Mhm.
supposed like you're trying to figure out what it is that's like going on with this tension. Is it tension because she's just a new person, or is it because she's black, or is it because she's the wife of this military guy? Who knows?
it's both for me because
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, you've ever been in those really small towns where there's no black people and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
hi, welcome, but please be on your way.
Right.
We ain't
Right.
looking for Negro.
Right.
So it kind of gave me that feel. And I think that the Native American woman that's in the shop, she's gonna have she does play a huger part because she knows the lore of Pennywise, which is why you saw those kids, the Native American kids, out
Mm-hmm.
there with the binoculars overlooking the site. I think from my understanding through the teasers and the trailers in New York Comic Con, their clan or their line was the one. Pennywise is not brand new.
Mm-hmm.
He's been walking around for a very long time, and they had to deal with him, and that's how they were able to seal him. And I think it's going to be a much bigger problem that ends up involving them and their land and what's going on. And I think that the mom, yes, she's also leery of newcomers, but it was like, we don't know where you're at within this. And maybe in a way, there could be some kind of kindred spiritness there because they're both minorities in the town. Maybe eventually.
With
It's kind of
her
like when
and
you see another black
with
person.
her and
Yeah,
the gift shop owner.
yeah. Because like
Okay.
when you see another black person and you're like, but you don't say nothing, but you give that look.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been like that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway. So then, lastly, we got to talk about that ending. They dig up this car. I thought it was Matt's car.
I thought so too.
The car that he died in. But
Yeah.
Penny has been killing children left, right, and center since the beginning. So it's just another car with his victims, and there were some items in there that we have yet to explore. How did you feel about that ending? No one died except for them, but they died a while ago.
Yeah. Um just adds to the mystique, to the mystery. I think it was a military car, or at least there's military people inside, because one of the bodies had it looked like a rifle. So who knows what's
Mhm.
going on in that car? So I would like to know, they found something, but all you did was find a car with a bunch of bodies. What exactly did you find? So I'm curious of how they're gonna connect all this and what this actually means. So it was a good cliffhanger to make you wonder.
Could be one of the relics that helped to find Pennywise. Remember, it's like a beacon. They're looking for the beacons,
Right. Maybe it's in
but
the
nothing
trunk.
beeped. Who knows? But yeah, and it showed that Hallorann was right because he's like, "Woo," at the
Yeah.
end. So
Yeah.
his abilities are ability. We just got to see what kind of
his
happens next.
his shining is shinning.
He's shinning the shine. So, kind of, what is there any other lasting thoughts? Any scenes that you liked, stood out?
um Still also the pregnant mom scene, and I guess that would be it. You get to see a little bit more of Pennywise. I'm really like his eyes pop up in like the
Hmm.
little mouth stomach thing. So I like that they're hinting at his form every now and then. I'm really curious though why, and I really hope they touch on this. Why did he choose a clown? Why did he choose this form? I know people are scared of clowns. There's a clown phobia. Yeah, I get it. Yada yada. But like, I want to know, and I hope they have like a real reason why he chose a clown. Is it because like people are genuinely scared of it, or because maybe he likes to kind of have a little fun while he's playing with his food, so he chooses a form that's kind of like, fun in a way, because he likes to joke around too. He jokes
Oh,
around and he plays around all the time. So why a clown? And they're already hinting at it with the eyes in both episodes. So I want to see more of like, why did he choose that the iconic form?
well, they will explain it. Andy Muschietti said that they will explain it. So
Mm,
we're going to get a lot more answers, which is something that I love.
cool.
And I like the fact that they used his voice. There were like different tones of his voice when Lily was in the supermarket and it was like, you killed her.
Yeah, that was cool.
was like, that was cool as well. So I guess next episode we might go to the hospital and see what's popping off in there, which of course could be its own scary mission in itself. So that should be really interesting. Poor Lily. I hope she still has the bracelet.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I thought that was so mean to pick her up at school. Like you made a
the
whole
cop.
show.
Yeah, and yeah.
Oh,
Remember,
that was
there's
horrible.
no sense of how do you say
Privacy,
I
decency.
guess you could say privacy. No, you could say decency too. I guess just consideration. There's no sense of
Yes,
consideration
yes,
back
yes.
then.
And then of course Ronnie's dad got picked up, and I love the fact that the grandma was like, "You're just sitting there, living off of people's fears, feeding off their pain." So Pennywise connection could kind of explain why the adults are not doing anything in a way. And
Why the
he's
what?
watching through them. So you know how they just sat there and watched? They didn't say anything, but they just kept watching like it was an exhibition.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of thinking, is that how Penny also feeds? By using through these people in their eyes and just staring. He's able to see Ronnie's biggest fear come true. Her dad
Mm-hmm.
was arrested. So I thought that was interesting. I feel so sorry for Grandma. Grandma is definitely going through it. Ronnie went away for that moment. So ugh,
I have a
terrible.
question for you. Did you get to? And I'm not calling out the production company for this for any sense, but like, did you get a advanced screening of this show?
No, they don't know
Okay,
yet. No way.
I asked because
Mm.
what do you think your idea is with Will, the little boy, and the teacher? Do you think we're gonna get more like conflict between the both of them? That white lady teacher who
Oh, I
kind of
think
like
it was
still
gonna
keeps. Yeah. So do you think that was like a racial issue, or
yeah.
she just finds him annoying?
Oh, it could be both. I think it's both. She seems
Hmm.
like someone who doesn't like kids. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
she's a
think it's also
teacher.
that kind of she's just a teacher. Can't stand kids. She's mean. She's evil. Evil kid. Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
could be both. I think the tension is there without them saying anything, which is what I like. But I think there's going to be definitely more conflict.
Okay. Yeah, I
I
see the
I
same.
see it for sure, and I see that boy is going to probably be a large part of what's going on. How I don't know, but he's very smart. And I did like the other kid's dad when he was like, "The sky is blue because it's a boy." Like that's funny, ignorant but funny. So yeah. So for me overall, this was absolutely superb. I kind of liked it a little bit more than the first episode. Of course, the first episode is just kind of introducing you to things, and this one is starting to dive more into it. I think episode 3 is going to be amazing. We're going to go to prison. We're going to go to the asylum. So there's a lot more things to find out what's going on. And Penny, I'm kind of wondering this: do you think he wants to be dug up? And if so, who is he going to use as a tool to dig him up?
I don't think he cares either way. He's like a higher, extra dimensional being. I don't think he cares.
Oh, okay, that works. He's still killing, so it's not like you're stopping
Yeah,
him.
exactly.
So yeah, that works. So yeah, that has kind of been our thoughts for episode 2. We will be back with episode 3 when it airs on, I think, the 7th or the 9th. I can't count, but we'll be back talking about it. So everyone have a great day, afternoon, evening, and check us out later.